Go ahead.
More broadly, the president was asked about the polling. I'm going to ask you about
Sure.
it now. Would you acknowledge this has been a particularly challenging period for the president? And there have been questions about his decision-making among some Americans, reflected in some of the polls.
Well, I would say that, as the president said yesterday, but let me try to answer your question again. His focus right now is on taking the steps and making the decisions that he feels are in the interests of our national security and the American people. And that may mean that there are chaotic scenes. That may mean that there are people disapproving of his decisions. He understands that and accepts that. But he also believes, if you look at the work of his team, and I know this question was asked earlier, that the test of competence and of leadership is not about how you operate on your best day. It's about how you operate when the chips are down, when things are difficult, when you need to adapt and make decisions. And that's what we've seen over the last week. That's what we've seen the men and women in the military do. That's what we've seen our national security team do. A week ago, just over a week ago, we didn't have control over the airport. Now we've evacuated 37,000 people. That is American leadership, and that is certainly competence of his team. But certainly we understand that people are seeing chaotic photos, but he continues to believe that this was a decision that only the commander-in-chief is able to make, and one he had to make for our own long-term national security interests.
Knowing there's about a week or so until the deadline, do you anticipate that the risk to American troops, American citizens, and Afghans will increase? Will there be
You mean
more,
on the ground, Kelly?
Yes. Will there be more desperation knowing that the number of flights out may be dwindling? And if so, how do you adjust for that in terms of your preparation?
Well, I would say that security on the ground is risky and volatile, and we are not naive about that. We are very clear-eyed about that. And that certainly is a factor as the president is considering the August 31st question and the timeline. It is also a factor of the fact that we have expedited over the last 24 to 48 hours our flights and the number of people we've been able to evacuate. And his objective is continuing to focus each day, asking detailed questions about how many more people we can get out each day, because that is a real issue. And that's one of the reasons, and Jake talked about this a little bit earlier, that we continue to adjust and take operational steps as it relates to the perimeter of the airport and as it relates to how we're engaging with American citizens and our Afghan partners about how and when they should come to the airport as well. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen.